Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Politics are only needed by people incapable of running their own minds. I'm now going to transplant a human brain into the head of this lion.
It all sounds like some bad movie.
It's not vast improvement. But last episode we covered 3 films, 2 of which were your choices. One of them was mine.
That's right.
So I'm going to start off this episode.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it with a film I just watched today.
Ooh.
Because it was better than I thought it'd be on so many levels.
Really?
Yeah. I just expected a shitty 80s horror film. And this is like a film that just like disappeared off the planet. No one ever talks about this film that I know of. It's called Alone in the Dark.
Wait, so this isn't the U-Bowl Christian Slater film?
No.
So it's just
same
made
name.
Before or after the U-Bowl movie?
1982.
Ah, okay.
It is called Alone in the Dark. The IMDb plot summary is: a quartet of murderous psychopaths break out of a mental hospital during a power blackout and lay siege to their doctor's house.
I love anything that says quartet.
A quartet of murderous psychopaths. Like, I'm already hooked, but I'm like, okay, the film's not going to be as good as the description. It kind of is.
Right.
Now, first of all, cast, and I'm like reeling these days from when I watch these like films from the 80s that like have fallen off the face of the earth.
Right.
That everybody's in. I was talking to you. You had gotten me a copy of Offbeat with Judge Reinhold.
Right.
Dude, everybody's in that fucking film.
Yeah.
You're watching it. It's like, him. Even like the last 20 minutes, like, well, they can't throw anybody else at me. Like Harvey Keitel walks in. Hey, how you doing? So what the fuck? Everybody's in this goddamn movie. It's ridiculous. It's like every New York actor is like in the film. It's insane. So I go to Alone in the Dark and I'm watching it blind because that's the best way to watch it. Dude, 2 of the 4 crazy people are Jack Palance and Martin Landau.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like even people that you don't recognize in this film. It's basically a hospital run by Donald Pleasance as Dr. Leo Bain. and he's based. And the weird thing is, he's like this like new age psychiatrist who doesn't believe in confining psychopaths and got to let them have their own space. And he's like just really he's like smoking pot while he's talking to his new doctor. And he's based on a real psychiatrist from the 80s.
Right.
Or from the 70s, more like. The whole concept was that insane people are just coping with an insane world in a different way than we do. And it's just the fact that it's based on a real doctor and like the same philosophy just makes it fun for me. But so they have these 4 psychopaths on the 3rd floor. They get their own little bunk room together, and they have a whole room. They have the whole 3rd floor because they're too dangerous. Jack Palance, who's Captain or Corporal Frank Hawks, he's just a badass. Then Martin Landau plays.
But is he good in the film? And he's a badass, or he's bad in the
he's
film?
always good. Jack Palance is good in any film where he's not wearing a robe. Yeah.
I just summed up the last 20 years of his career.
No, but again, any film where he's like in medieval times and he's wearing and he's done a lot of them apparently.
Oh, he's done a ton of shit.
Yeah, but anything where he's wearing a robe, just skip it. But he's great in this as like an ex-soldier psychopath.
Hawk the Slayer.
Martin Landau is called the preacher, and he likes to burn down churches. And as Jack Palance puts it, unfortunately, he likes to burn them while there's people still inside.
I love Jack Palance. I really do.
Then they have the third floor child molester, Fatty, and it's like watching it vaguely. It's like, oh, do I recognize this guy? Yes, I do. He's the electric guy, Electro or whatever his name is from Running Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the opera singing electric guy from Running Man is the child molester in this film. And then the fourth guy is called the Bleeder because every time he kills someone, he gets a nosebleed. Which,
what sense does that make?
I don't know, but it actually works.
Hey,
dude, and they never show his face. They never show his face because he doesn't like that you show his face. So in the third act, that all comes together.
Huh.
The nose bleeding is actually an important plot point to the whole movie.
Oh, really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so much
like the scanner effect or something.
All I'm gonna say is like when it actually becomes relevant, it took me a minute to realize what was happening. It's like, what is that? What is? Oh, but anyway, this Fabulous Four, they're in this mental institution that's run 100% by electric. Then they keep hyping the electric to the point that after about the first 15 minutes, you know there's going to be a blackout.
Jeez.
And so they all escape during the blackout, and they've convinced themselves that the new doctor, and get this, the new doctor is played by Dwight Schultz.
Really?
Yes. And I'm watching it for like a half an hour, 44 minutes, like, I recognize this guy somewhere. Holly's like, I know he's somebody. I ended up looking it up. Oh, it's Murdoch. All right, yeah, Murdoch. A year before he plays Murdoch in the A-Team, he plays a psychiatrist being hunted down by killers.
Get out of here. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the film doesn't matter at this point. Everything I've said right now is a great reason for this movie. But so they escape the hospital. They like it's filmed in Newark, New Jersey.
I love that. You know me. I have a soft spot for movies made in New Jersey or about New Jersey, but mostly if they're made here.
When the power goes out, they cut to the town. It's like an hour later, and mass rioting, looting, fires everywhere. All white people, just robbing shit and setting things on fire. And Jack and the gang, they arm up and they drive around and they find the doctor's house and they like hunt him down and kill a bunch of people in the process.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's just so many little things in this film that are fun. I mean, and like again, whenever Jack Palance is on the screen, it's like, yeah. If the film has a fault, it's that they have Jack Palance and Martin Landau as insane people, and they don't have nearly enough screen time.
Yeah, it doesn't that always seem like the way they end up doing that shit.
Like Martin Landau, they don't give him nearly enough dialogue. I mean, these are two great actors. Yeah, but it's a fun film. I mean, and like if you scroll through the trivia, there's one great trivia thing. There's a band playing that the doctor takes his sister who had a nervous breakdown earlier and is afraid of the dark. Plot point. She takes them to see a band called the Sick Fucks.
Really?
Apparently, it's a real band it's really their name. And they were supposed to play this other band name, but when they found out that the name was the Sick Fucks, they thought it was so perfect for the film, they let them use their real name.
Wow.
And according to the trivia...
And you said this is a film from 1982?
1982, yes.
Wow.
And... yeah. And... the mother and daughter, the next day they get arrested protesting a nuclear power plant.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. But not mother in the mother and sister-in-law, mother and sister-in-law.
Got it.
But apparently, the one trivia I liked about this was years later, one of the band members ran into Jack Palance, and he told Jack Palance, "Hey, I was one of the sick fucks in the movie," and supposedly Jack Palance said, "We were all sick fucks in that film."
That's it. That's you don't get better than that.
No, I mean, and it's the film's a little slower than it should be because they haven't spent enough time with Jack and Landau.
Right.
But it's got a great end.
Do you think Jack even remembered that film, or he was just kind of entertaining this person?
I think he probably remembered every film he was on. He's a professional. God damn it. And like, I don't want to ruin the ending, but like the ending is awesome.
Then don't ruin it, because I will watch it.
It's like I was like, this is a great ending. This is like, it was so much better of an ending than I expected from this film going in.
Right.
You know. Oh, and Donald Pleasance playing a pothead psychiatrist. Fucking, I'm in. I'm in.
You're the Duke of New York. You're A #1.
And
it's a year removed from that.
Yeah. And the best thing about this film, it's nagging me. This film reminds me of something. These 4 people escape from a mental institution. 4
Right.
crazy people. One of them has this a preacher god complex. The other one anger management issues. The big fat guy gets a baseball bat while they're in the riot. I'm like, motherfucker! The Dream Team remade this movie. There are way too many points of similarity that the Dream Team wasn't like.
God, you're
like, so. There's no
you're
way
right.
to know someone's. Well, yeah, it's like, hey, they even get into a van at one point and drive around. It's like somebody was watching. It's like, hey, this would make a good comedy.
Well, because it's like because everyone in the Dream Team, they were all professionals as well. It's like, yeah, you ever see that movie came out about 6-7 years ago? It was called, whatever, and it starred Jack Palance and Martin. Yeah, I've seen that movie. We should do that.
It's too similar to be a coincidence. It's just too many. But instead of trying to save the doctor,
Right.
Their psychiatrist, like in Dream Team, they're trying to kill him. It's a slight difference there, but I mean, you and I have watched a lot of '80s horror films.
Oh my God! And what's fun is because I have Video Armageddon on in the background. We watched it together for the first time when we got it. There were very few. You remember we watched it here in my house.
Yeah.
There were very few films where it's like, oh, I don't know what this is, which I don't know if that's sad or if that's cool.
You have to go through. Yeah, that film. Oh yeah, that's that. Oh yeah, I've seen that. Oh yeah, that's outtake.
But we were watching it and we loved it because it was like, look at all this great shit that's in here. So, yeah, fun stuff.
But like so many of the '80s horror films are like patterned after like Jason, and again, it was the year of the slasher film, so you had so many slasher films coming out.
Right.
And this one, which the movie poster is like a guy's leg and his hands holding an axe. It's like, oh, could you get any more cliche? I don't want to watch this.
Right.
But it's such a, compared to like a lot of the other '80s horror films that involve psychopaths killing people, such a breath of fresh air. It comes highly recommended from me.
Oh, highly.
Even though Jack Palance doesn't spend too much time, he makes the beginning, or like the first, like say 15-20 minutes, he's in there a decent amount, and the ending is Jack Palance's ending.
Oh, really?
Fuck yeah! And you know what? If you see the ending, I think they should have made a sequel or a TV show spin-off.
And you know what? In the 80s, I'm surprised that didn't happen. They did tons of shit like that in the 80s.
And so this should have happened instead of Manimal.
Man.
Yeah.